I forgot to lock the damn door. Farter Euros trade s how it all started to unravel. One moment, I was lost in a cloud of scalding steam, the water a welcome punishment, washing away the grime of my double shift and the heavier, stickier grime of my own deception. The bathroom was my only sanctuary in a suite that screamed of old money and inherited privilege, a tiny, tiled space where I could pretend I was no Euros trade T, the charity case, the scholarship kid living on the frayed edges of a world woven from trust funds and legacy admissions. For a few precious minutes, I could just be me, Carl, a guy trying to scrub away the exhaustion. And then the door creaked open, a blast of cool air cutting through the fog, and a voice, rough and familiar, sliced through the hiss of the shower. "Yo, Carl, you seen my Euros?" The voice died, and so did the world as I knew it. I spun around, my heart hammering against my ribs, water sluicing from my body. There, framed in the doorway, was Harold, and his eyes, wide as saucers, were seeing everything. "My name is Carl, and before I became the epicenter of a very complicated, very personal disaster, I was just invisible. I was the guy you didn't notice, a sophomore scraping by on academic scholarships and the meager earnings from a minimum wage job that smelled perpetually of burnt coffee. Our Euros trade am built like a scarecrow, all sharp angles and limbs that seemed too long for my body, with a constellation of freckles scattered across my face and a mop of unruly brown hair that I could never quite tame. My wardrobe was a carefully curated collection of thrift store finds, each piece a testament to my financial reality. I was a transplant from a sleepy, forgotten town in rural Ohio, a place where the highlight of the year was a county fair. Now, I found myself sharing a luxury university dorm suite with two individuals who might as well have been from another planet. Harold and Jackie. They were the sun and moon to my forgotten star, celestial bodies of wealth and confidence that I could only orbit from a distance. Harold was a force of nature, a mountain of muscle and golden hair who seemed to have been chiseled from the same marble as a Greek god, albeit one with a penchant for video games and a temper that could ignite with the speed of a lit match. Jackie, on the other hand, was his polar opposite. He was a quiet storm, all sharp intelligence and cool detachment. With his dark hair, piercing gray eyes, and a jawline that looked like it could cut diamonds, he moved through the world with an unnerving grace, as if he was constantly analyzing its flaws and coding a better version in his mind. I was the glitch in their perfectly programmed world, the scholarship kid whose very presence was a reminder of a life they couldn't possibly comprehend. And on one crisp October afternoon, I was about to cause a system crash. I was trudging back from the campus coffee shop, the air filled with the scent of decaying leaves. My sneakers, a pair of worn-out imitations I Euros trade D owned since my junior year of high school, were miserably soaked from an unseen puddle. I was balancing a greasy bag of takeout in one arm and my battered backpack on the other as I pushed my way into the suite. The scent of their world hit me immediately. A Euros, a potent cocktail of expensive leather, Harold Euros trade S overbearing cologne, and the subtle, earthy aroma of Jackie Euros trade S imported artisanal tea. I was halfway to the relative safety of my own small room when disaster struck. My waterlogged sneaker caught on the edge of a rug, and my world tilted on its axis. I stumbled, a clumsy, uncoordinated flail, and the takeout bag launched from my grasp. Time seemed to slow as I watched it arc through the air, a greasy comet on a collision course with destiny. French fries rained down upon the gleaming hardwood floor, and a dollop of ketchup, a vibrant, vulgar red, landed with a sickening splat directly on one of Harolder Euro's Trade's immaculate, limited ion Air Jordans. $500 of sneakerhead perfection, now desecrated by my cheap, pathetic dinner. Carl, what the actual hell? Harolder Euro's Trade's voice was a sonic boom from the couch where he Euro's Trade D been engrossed in some violent shooter game. He sprang to his feet, a modern-day Viking radiating fury. He was all muscle and righteous indignation. His blue eyes narrowed into icy slits as he towered over my trembling form. Are you serious right now? Do you have any idea what these cost? My blood ran cold. My stomach twisted itself into a painful knot of pure dread. €euros I didn't euros trade T mean to, I stammered, the words feeling pathetic and hollow. But he wasn't euros trade T listening. He was already stomping towards the shoe, snatching it from the floor as if it were a wounded bird. The ketchup smear looked like a crime scene against the pristine white leather. A circumflex euros didn't euros trade T mean toward euros trade, he snarled, shoving the sneaker uncomfortably close to my face. These are custom, Carl. I was on a waiting list for 3 months for these, and you managed to turn them into a fast food casualty in less than 3 seconds. A hot flush of shame crept up my neck, burning my face. Panic, sharp and claw-like, dug into my chest. I couldn't afford to replace a chocolate bar, let alone a pair of shoes that cost more than my monthly rent. €euros trade LL clean them, I offered, my voice a weak whisper, reaching a trembling hand for the shoe. He jerked it away violently. Clean them? You think a wet wipe is going to fix this? His voice was escalating, loud enough to vibrate through the walls. My eyes flickered towards Jackie, who was leaning against the kitchen counter, observing the entire meltdown with a look of detached curiosity. He was the picture of cool indifference, sipping his tea with one eyebrow arched, as if he were merely debugging a minor error in the system. Maybe if you weren't euros trade tea so clumsy, Carl, Jackie chimed in, his voice smooth and cutting. You wouldn't euros trade tea find yourself in these situations. Poor kid problems, am I right? That single phrase, a circumflex euros poor kid, a circumflex euros trade struck me with more force than any physical blow. It was his favorite weapon. A verbal shiv he euros trade D slide between my ribs whenever he got the chance, and it twisted in my gut every single time. They couldn't euros trade T understand. They would never understand the constant, grinding anxiety of my life, how every single dollar was meticulously accounted for, how I was perpetually one minor catastrophe away from complete and utter ruin. I clenched my fists, the nails digging into my palms, biting back the venomous retort that was bubbling on my tongue. €euros trade LL figure something out, I muttered, dropping to my knees and beginning the humiliating task of scooping up the scattered fries. My hands shook as I wiped at the ketchup on the floor with a flimsy napkin, smearing the greasy stain into the denim of my jeans. Harold let out a frustrated huff, tossing the defiled shoe onto the couch. You better figure it out. I want $500 by the end of the week. Or €euros trade LL find another way to get it out of you. He stormed off towards his room, slamming the door with enough force to make the pictures on the wall tremble. Jackie simply shrugged, a silent dismissal, and vanished into his own sanctuary, leaving me alone in the wreckage. I sat there on the floor, the crumpled takeout bag beside me, and something inside me just euros snapped. $500. It was an impossible sum, a mountain I had no hope of climbing. My mind raced, desperation fizzing in my veins. I could call my parents, but they were already stretched to their breaking point back home. I could try to pick up more shifts, but it would take weeks, if not months, to earn that much. Then, from the darkest corner of my panicked mind, an idea began to form. It was a stupid idea, a reckless, dangerous, and utterly brilliant idea. I dragged myself into my tiny room, a stark and pathetic contrast to the rest of the suite. A sagging twin bed, a desk with a chipped corner, and a single, flickering overhead bulb were my only possessions of note. I flipped open my ancient laptop, its fan whirring with the strained effort of a machine on its last legs, and opened a new browser tab. If I could euros trade pay Harold back with my own money, maybe I could get it from theirs. Not by stealing, of course. I wasn't euros trade a thief. But what if I could become someone else? Someone they would never suspect. A slow, malicious smirk tugged at the corner of my lips as my fingers danced across the keyboard. I created a new profile on a random chat application. Ellar9, a sweet, slightly naive girl from a small town with a talent for flattery and a hint of vulnerability. I scrolled through my phone and found a slightly blurry picture of my high school friend, Sarah, a girl with a kind face and an easy smile. I knew she wouldn't euros trade mind me borrowing her likeness for a little while. The bio was a masterpiece of vague appeal, just a girl looking for some funa euros and maybe a little help making my dreams come true. It was just innocent enough to be believable, just suggestive enough to be enticing. My heart pounded a frantic rhythm against my ribs as I sent the first friend request. To Harold, his profile was exactly what I expected, a gallery of cocky selfies and gym pictures. Within minutes, he accepted. A message notification pinged. "Hey cutie, what are euros trade up?" I bit my lip to stifle a giddy, terrified laugh. This was far too easy. I typed back, channeling a persona I didn't euros trade know I had. "Hey handsome. Just chilling, you know. You look like you have some stories to tell." He responded instantly, his ego practically radiating through the screen. Next was Jackie. His profile was a study in minimalist artifice, moody, artistic photos and a cryptic quote about the elegance of code. I adjusted LR euros trade's approach accordingly. "Hi there. I saw your profile and you seemed euros interesting. What are euros trade's your deal?" He took longer to respond. His reply, when it came, was as smooth and calculated as I expected. "Hey Eller, I'er euros trade am just a guy who likes puzzles. You seem like one worth solving." Oh, he had no idea. By midnight, I was juggling two separate conversations, Eller weaving her seductive web around both of them. Harold was already promising to send her $20 for a coffee, and Jackie was hinting at helping her with some undefined project. A potent cocktail of guilt and exhilaration coursed through me. This was insane. It was dangerous. But as I leaned back in my creaky desk chair, the glow of the screen illuminating my triumphant grin, I knew I couldn't euros trade stop. $500 was just the beginning. If I played my cards right, I might never have to feel small and insignificant again. I closed the laptop. The only sound in the room, the low hum of the dormitory euros trade's heating system. Tomorrow, LR euros trade's game would escalate. For now, I crawled into bed, the weight of the day settling over me. Harold euros trade's furious face flashed in my mind, followed by Jackie euros trade's cool, analytical smirk. They thought they had me cornered, the poor kid in over his head. They were wrong. I wasn't euros trade just the poor kid anymore. I was the one pulling the strings. The next morning, I woke to the aggressive whir of Harold Eurostrade's blender from the kitchen, the telltale sound of one of his jerky, regrettable protein shakes. My room was a dim sanctuary, the curtains drawn tight against the dreary Ohio sky. I rolled over, my phone buzzing insistently on the wobbly nightstand. 2 notifications load on the screen. One from Harold, one from Jackie. Not to me, of course. To Eller. My heart did a nervous little flutter kick in my chest, a mixture of heady excitement and sickening dread. I swiped the screen open. Harold had sent a goofy, bed-headed selfie with a caption, "Morning babe. How are Eurostrade's my favorite girl?" Jackie Eurostrade's message was more subtle, sharper. "Hey Eller, sleep well. I was thinking about you." I stared at the words, my pulse quickening. This was real. I was actually doing this. I sat up, my hair a tangled mess, and grabbed my laptop. I was still wearing yesterday's Eurostrade's faded t-shirt, but personal hygiene was a low priority. Eller had business to attend to. I logged into the chat app, my fingers trembling ever so slightly as I composed my replies. To Harold, "Le morning, big guy. You're Eurostrade remaking me blush already. How are Eurostrade's your day starting?" To Jackie, "Hey you. I slept okay, but I bet our Eurostrade sleep better knowing your brilliant mind was thinking about me." I hit send, a nervous laugh bubbling up from my chest. It was absurd how easily they were falling for this, how readily they consumed the sweet poison I was feeding them. But the guilt was a persistent gnaw, sharper than I Eurostrade anticipated. They might be arrogant, privileged jerks, but they were Eurostrade completely devoid of humanity. Harold, for all his bluster, had once stayed up all night helping me cram for a chemistry exam I was certain to fail. And Jackie, despite his icy exterior, had once discreetly slipped me some cash for groceries when he thought I wasn't Eurostrade looking. And here I was, repaying those small kindnesses by scanning them like a common criminal. I shoved the thought down, burying it deep where it couldn't Eurostrade poison my resolve. $500. That was the mission. That was all that mattered. By midday, I was fully immersed in Eller Eurostrade's world. Harold Eurostrade's chat was a relentless stream of notifications. He sent pictures from his gym session, sweaty and shirtless, flexing his biceps as if he were auditioning for a role as a superhero. "Gotta stay in shape for a girl like you, Eller," he wrote. I rolled my eyes, typing back a saccharine reply, "Wow, you are Eurostrade re-killing me with those muscles. Our Eurostrade am practically swooning over here." It was disgustingly over the top, but he devoured it, promising to send me $50 to buy something pretty. My stomach did a lurch. $50. Just like that. A tenth of my debt erased in less than a day. Jackie Eurostrade's approach was slower, more methodical. He was asking Eller about her ambitions, her dreams, probing gently as if he were trying to crack a complex code. "What are Eurostrade's your grand plan, Eller? You strike me as someone with ambition." I chewed on my lip, leaning back in my chair. He was dangerously perceptive. I kept my answers vague. "Oh, you know, just trying to make my way. Maybe save up for something special." "What about you?" His reply was smooth, almost seductive. "I like to build things. Maybe I could build something for you someday." For a fleeting moment, a dangerous, stupid moment, I almost forgot I was lying to him. I needed to escalate. I needed a new photo, something to solidify the illusion. I couldn't Eurostrade keep using Sarah Eurostrade's pictures forever. It was too risky. My eyes scanned my cluttered room and landed on a crumpled skirt my cousin had left behind during a visit last semester. It was a crazy, reckless idea, but my desperation was a powerful motivator. I locked my door, stripped down to my boxers, and wriggled into the skirt. It was floral, ridiculously tight, and looked absurd on my lanky, boyish frame. I threw on a hoodie, pulled the hood low over my head to obscure my face, and snapped a blurry selfie in the mirror. No face was visible, just the suggestion of a curve, a flash of leg. It was enough to sell the lie. My face burned with a new level of shame as I uploaded it to LR Eurostrade's profile with the caption "Feeling cute today." I couldn't Eurostrade believe what I was doing. If they ever discovered the truth, I was finished. Harold Eurostrade's response was immediate. Talia Euros Eller, war Eurostrade re gorgeous. I Eurostrade am sending you something extra for that. A notification pinged. Another $20. Jackie took longer to reply, but when he did, his message was accompanied by a $50 transfer. You have style. I like that. I stared at the screen, dumbfounded. $120 in a single morning. I was a genius. I was a monster. I was both. The suite was quiet now. Harold was at class, and Jackie was likely in the computer lab, lost in his world of code. I ripped off the skirt, tossing it into a corner as if it were radioactive, and collapsed onto my bed, my mind a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. What if I pushed this even further? $100 a day could solve more than just my shoe problem. It could pay for books, for food, maybe even for a bus ticket home for Christmas. But the deeper I waded into this deception, the more treacherous the climb out would be. I closed my eyes, their faces swimming in my vision. Harold Eurostrade's goofy grin, Jack Eurostrade's piercing stare. They were falling for Eller, a fabrication, a ghost. That was a plan. So why did it feel like I was the one being ensnared? A sharp knock on my door jolted me back to reality. "Carl, you alive in there?" Harold Eurostrade's voice rumbled through the thin wood. I scrambled to my feet, smoothing down my shirt, and cracked the door open. He was standing there, his hair still damp from a shower, a small box tucked under his arm. "Got a package," he said, tossing it onto my bed. "Looks fancy. You got a secret sugar daddy or something?" My heart seized in my chest. The shipping label was addressed to Eller. Below it, in Harold Eurostrade's messy scrawl, were the words hugs and kisses. He had sent it here, to our dorm, to her. I forced a laugh, my throat suddenly dry. "Oh, no. Just a friend. Thanks, man." He shrugged, a smirk playing on his lips, and lumbered away. I shut the door, my hands trembling as I tore the box open. Inside, nestled in tissue paper, was a scarf. It was made of silk, soft and impossibly expensive, something completely alien to my world. A small note slipped out. "For my girl, Eller. Wear it for me." I sank onto the edge of my bed, the cool silk a shocking sensation against my fingertips. This was no longer just about money. Harold was invested, and Jackie wasn't Eurostrade far behind. I had hooked them, and I had hooked them hard. But as I stared at the gift, my earlier smugginess curdled into something else entirely. Fear, excitement. I couldn't Eurostrade tell the difference. All I knew was that LR Eurostrade's game had just become terrifyingly real, and I wasn't Eurostrade sure I was prepared for the consequences. I shoved the scarf under my pillow, my hands shaking. Tonight, I would push LR Eurostrade's game even further. More chats, more lies, more money. I had to. The shoe debt was still hanging over me. But as I lay back, the ceiling spinning above me, I couldn't euros trade T ignore the heat creeping up my neck. I was playing with fire, and these €2 they were the kind of flames that didn't euros trade T just burn. They consumed. By Wednesday afternoon, the dorm suite felt like a pressure cooker. The air was thick with unspoken tension, or maybe that was just my own paranoia manifesting itself. IR Euros Trade D been riding the high of LR Euros Trade S success for 2 days, and my secret fund had swelled to $200. Harold and Jack Air Euros Trade S clueless generosity was both a blessing and a curse. The silk scarf remained hidden beneath my pillow, a secret I hadn't Euros Trade T dared to touch since it arrived. Every time I passed Harold in the hallway, his goofy, unsuspecting grin sent a jolt of guilt through my stomach, and Jack Air Euros Trade S quiet, analytical stares were beginning to feel like laser beams attempting to bore through my skull and expose my secrets. I was on edge, convinced that I was one careless mistake away from my entire house of cards collapsing around me. It was late past 10 or Euros trade clock, and I was bone tired from a double shift at the coffee shop. I shuffled into the suite, the smell of burnt espresso clinging to me. Harold was sprawled on the couch, once again yelling at his video game, while Jackie was at the kitchen table, his face illuminated by the glow of his laptop, his fingers a blur across the keyboard. Neither of them acknowledged my mumbled greeting as I made my way to the bathroom. I needed a shower, something hot and punishing to wash away the physical and emotional grime of the day. The bathroom was a shared disaster zone, as usual. A damp towel was flung over the rack. Harold Euros Trade S can of body spray littered the counter, and Jack Euros Trade S bottle of expensive shampoo sat perched on the edge of the tub like a king on his throne. I kicked off my sneakers, peeled off my sweaty clothes, and cranked the water until it was scalding. Steam billowed around me, fogging the mirror as I stepped under the spray. For a moment, there was only the heat and the sound of the pounding water, drowning out the chaos in my head. LR Euros Trade S voice, Harold Euros Trade S money, Jack Euros Trade S cryptic message euros, it all melted away. I closed my eyes, letting my shoulders slump as the tension bled out of me. I was so lost in the momentary peace that I didn't Euros Trade T hear the door creak open. Not until a blast of cool air hit my back and Harold Euros Trade S voice cut through the steam like a gunshot. Yo, Carl, you seen my Euros? His voice trailed off. I spun around, water splashing everywhere, and there he was, frozen in the doorway, his blue eyes as wide as saucers. I had forgotten to lock the damn door. Get out, I yelped, lunging for the flimsy shower curtain. But it was too late. He had already seen everything. My skinny frame, the freckles scattered across my chest, the way I was scrambling like a panicked animal. My face was on fire, and it had nothing to do with the steam. Harold Euros Trade S mouth hung open for a moment, then twisted into a slow, crooked grin. His gaze raked over me, not with disgust, but with a startling intensity, as if he were seeing me for the first time. Damn, Carl, he said, his voice a low, teasing rumble. He leaned against the door frame, making no move to leave. You are Euros Trade hiding some decent goods under those ratty clothes. No wonder you are Euros Trade so scrappy. His words sent a shiver down my spine that had nothing to do with the draft. Shut up and get out, I snapped, yanking the shower curtain across my body. It was a flimsy shield, clinging to my wet skin. My heart was hammering against my ribs, a chaotic mix of humiliation and something else, something hot and electric that I didn't Eurostrade dare to name. He let out a loud, rough laugh, and I heard his footsteps retreat as the door clicked shut. I slumped against the cold tiles, panting, water dripping into my eyes. What in the hell had just happened? I was still reeling when another voice, cool and clipped, broke the silence. Water Eurostrade all the noise. Jackie. Of course. I peered through a gap in the curtain. He was standing in the exact spot Harold had just vacated, his gray eyes glinting in the steam. He was wearing a black hoodie, the sleeves pushed up to his elbows, and he was looking at me like I was a glitch in his code that he was determined to understand. Harold walked in on me, I muttered, clutching the curtain tighter. Forgot to lock the door. Jackie Eurostrade's lips twitched, the ghost of a smile. Rookie mistake. He took a step closer, the steam swirling around him, and the small room suddenly felt claustrophobic. You okay? You look rattled. Eurostrade fine, I lied, my voice an octave too high. He was close now, so close I could smell the faint scent of mint on his breath, see the damp strands of hair clinging to his forehead. The air crackled with a strange energy, heavy and charged. Good, he said, his voice soft and deliberate. He turned to leave, but paused at the door. You are Eurostrade V got a decent frame, Carl. Dona Eurostrade T hide it so much. The door shut behind him, and I was left gaping, the water now cold against my skin. I finished my shower in a daze, my hands shaking as I toweled off. My reflection in the fogged mirror was a stranger Euro's cheeks flushed, hair plastered to my head, eyes wide and wild. Harold saw me. Jackie saw me, and neither of them had reacted with disgust or anger. They had seen their Euros interested. My gut twisted, a nauseating cocktail of panic, adrenaline, and something else I refused to name. This was not part of the plan. Eller was the one they were supposed to desire, not me. Back in my room, I threw on a hoodie and shorts, my mind racing. I needed a cover story, something to throw them off the scent. The next time they asked about Eller, Eurostrade say she was my cousin, someone who lived far away. Someone they would never have the chance to meet. It was a flimsy lie, but it might buy me some time. A ping from my phone interrupted my frantic plotting. It was Harold. Hey Eller, you free tonight? Been thinking about you all day. Then another, from Jackie. Eller, are you ever going to tell me more about yourself? Eurostrade am curious. I swallowed hard, my fingers fumbling as I typed back as Eller, all flirty and coy. To Harold or Harold, war Eurostrade re too sweet. Maybe soon, big guy. To Jackie maybe Eurostrade am a mystery worth chasing. What do you think? I hit send, my chest tight, but my brain couldn't Eurostrade let go of what had happened in the bathroom. Harold Eurostrade's grin, Jackie Eurostrade's stare. They were stuck on a loop in my mind. I flopped onto my bed, burying my face in my pillow. This was getting messy. They weren't Eurostrade just falling for Eller anymore. They were starting to notice me, the real me. And that was a complication I hadn't Eurostrade prepared for. My skin still tingled where their eyes had lingered, and I hated myself for the small, traitorous part of me that had enjoyed the attention. I was supposed to be the con artist, not the prize. But as I drifted off to sleep, the memory of the steam and their voices swirling in my head, I couldn't Eurostrade shake the terrifying truth. I was in far deeper than I had ever planned, and the water was only getting hotter. Eater Euros Trade S Friday night, and IR Euros Trade M alive wire, pacing the confined space of my room like a caged animal. The past few days have been a dizzying blur of LR Euros Trade S flirtatious chats, Herolder Euros Trade S casual cash transfers, and Jackia Euros Trade S increasingly pointed questions. IR Euros Trade V amassed $300, more than halfway to my goal, but the thrill of the scam has curdled into a constant, low-grade anxiety. Every notification from my phone feels like the whisper of a guillotine blade descending towards my neck. I can't Euros Trade T maintain this charade for much longer. The incident in the bathroom left me completely rattled. Herolder Euros Trade S smirk and Jackia Euros Trade S intense stare are burned into my memory, and IR Euros Trade M starting to wonder if their Euros Trade re already onto me. The dorm is alive with the thumping bass of a party down the hall. Harold is out there somewhere, probably chugging beers and being the life of the party, while Jackie is likely holed up in his room, lost in his world of code. IR Euros Trade M alone, perched on the edge of my bed, the laptop balanced on my knees. LR Euros Trade S profile picture, the blurry, deceptive image of me in that stupid skirt, seems to mock me from the screen. IR Euros Trade V been sloppy, reckless, and tonight, my entire world is about to detonate. A sharp knock on the door makes me jump. Call, open the damn door. Eater Euros Trade S Jackia Euros Trade S voice, low and edged with an unfamiliar hardness. My stomach plummets. I shove the laptop under my pillow and scramble to the door, cracking it open. He Euros Trade S standing there, arms crossed, his gray eyes like shards of ice. Water Euros Trade S up. I croak, trying to sound casual, but my voice betrays my terror. He does no Euros Trade T answer. He simply steps inside, forcing me to back away, and clicks the door shut behind him. The small room suddenly feels suffocating. Eller, he says, the name dropping into the silence like a stone. My knees feel weak. What about her? I stammer, my mind frantically searching for the flimsy cousin excuse IR Euros Trade D rehearsed. Cut the crap. Call. He pulls out his phone and shoves it in my face. On the screen is a map, a blinking dot pinpointing our dorm Euros Trade SIP address. I traced her account. Eater Euros Trade SU. Every message, every picture. War Euros Trade V been playing us. Panic, sharp and bitter, claws its way up my throat. I open my mouth to lie, to deny, to deflect, but the words "Warner Euros Trade T" come. He has me, dead to rights. The shame is a physical force, hitting me like a freight train. Jackie, IR Euros I begin, but he steps closer, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. Why? He asks, and his eyes hold not just anger, but a raw, unexpected hurt. Was it just about the money, or was there something more? I flinch, backing away until my spine hits the edge of my desk. It was the shoes, I blurt out, my voice cracking. Herolder Euros Trade S damn sneakers. I couldn't Euros Trade T pay him back. So IR Euros I figured IR Euros Trade D get it from you guys this way. It was stupid, okay. IR Euros Trade M sorry. He just stares at me, his gaze unblinking, and I feel utterly exposed, as if he Euros Trade S peeling back every layer of deception IR Euros Trade V so carefully constructed. Then, the door bangs open, and Harold barrels in, his face flushed. What are Euros Trade S going on? I heard yelling. Jackie turns, holding up his phone. Carl, is Eller. Eater Euros Trade S been him the whole time. Harold freezes, his jaw dropping. For a terrifying second, I think he Eurostrayed going to hit me. His fists clench, his shoulders tense. But then, he lets out a bark of laughter, loud and unhinged. You little Euros, you catfished us with that skirt pic. He doubles over, clutching his stomach, a strange mix of relief and mortification washing over me. Eater Eurostrayed not funny, Jackie snaps, but Harold waves him off, still wheezing. Eater Eurostrayed hilarious. Ire Eurostrayed been sending love notes to Carl in a hoodie. Oh my god, Ire Eurostrayed dying. He straightens up, wiping tears from his eyes, and fixes me with a grin that is equal parts predatory and amused. You are Eurostrayed a sneaky bastard. You know that. I kind of like it. I gape at him, my brain short-circuiting. You are Eurostrayed not mad. Oh, Ire Eurostrayed pissed, he says, stepping closer, his bulk seeming to shrink the room. But Ire Eurostrayed more pissed that I didn't Eurostrayed see it sooner. You are Eurostrayed got balls, Carl. And Ire Eurostrayed been falling for them. His voice drops, becoming rough and warm, and my face ignites. He Eurostrayed so close now I can feel the heat radiating from his body, smell the faint scent of beer on his breath. Jackie cuts in, his tone icy. Back off, Harold. Ire Eurostrayed not done. He turns back to me, his gaze locking with mine. You lied to us. You played us. But Ire Eurostrayed not letting you off that easy. He leans in, so close his lips brush against my ear, and whispers, Ire Eurostrayed been chasing Eller. But I think Ire Eurostrayed wanted you all along. My breath hitches in my throat. A jolt of pure electricity shoots down my spine. The room spins, Harold on one side, Jackie on the other, and me trapped in the middle. Ire I don't Eurostrayed get it, I manage to squeak. You are Eurostrayed supposed to hate me. Harold chuckles, his hand landing on my shoulder, heavy and firm. Hate you. Nar. Ire Eurostrayed too impressed. And too into you. His thumb brushes against my collarbone, a casual but deliberate touch, and my skin buzzes. Jack Eurostrayed's hand finds my wrist, his grip cool and possessive. You are Eurostrayed not wriggling out of this, Carl. You started this game. Now you have to deal with us. His fingers tighten, and I swear I can feel his pulse, or maybe Eater Eurostrayed's my own, hammering wildly against my veins. Ire Eurostrayed drowning in their proximity, their heat, their intensity, and I don't Eurostrayed know whether to run or sink deeper. This is crazy, I whisper, my eyes darting between them. You can't Eurostrayed both Euros, why not? Harold grins, all teeth and mischief. You are Eurostrayed been stringing us both along as Eller. Now you are Eurostrayed got the real deal. What are Eurostrayed's your move, huh? I bolt. Eater Eurostrayed's pure instinct, panic overriding every rational thought. I twist out of their grasp, grab my jacket, and stumble out the door, their voices calling my name behind me. The hallway is a blur as I hit the stairwell, the party noise a distant roar. I burst out into the cold night air, my breath fogging in front of me, my sneakers pounding the pavement as I run towards the only sanctuary I can think of the bus station. An hour later, Ire Eurostrayed on a Greyhound heading back to Ohio, the low hum of the engine vibrating thrum against my bones. My phone is off, stuffed deep in my bag, but I can still feel their words, their touches, seared into my skin. They didn't Eurostrayed just forgive me. They want me both of them, and that is infinitely more terrifying than any scam I could have ever pulled. I lean my head against the cold window, my rural, predictable hometown a 6-hour ride away. I don't Euros trade T know what Euros trade LL find when I get there, or what Euros trade LL do when they inevitably follow me. Because they will. I saw it in their eyes. This isn't Euros trade T over. Eater Euros trade S just beginning. The bus groans to a halt at a dusty gas station on the outskirts of my hometown, the brakes squealing like a wounded animal. Eater Euros trade S4 in the morning, the sky still a bruised purple, and I stumble off, my backpack slung over my shoulder. The air smells of wet earth and gasoline, a sharp, nostalgic scent that hits me right in the chest. Euros trade am back in rural Ohio, a place where the biggest drama is a heated game of bingo. I have Euros trade T been home since the summer, and now Euros trade am a fugitive, running from Harold, Jackie, and the beautiful, terrifying mess Euros trade V created. My legs ache from the cramped bus ride, but my mind is in worse shape, spinning with a memory of their voices, their hands, the way they looked at me like I was something worth chasing. The half-mile walk to my house is down a gravel road that crunches under my feet. The house itself is a sagging, 2-story structure with peeling paint and a porch that groans in protest as I climb the steps. Inside, Eater Euros trade S silent, save for the faint ticking of the kitchen clock. My mom has left a note on the counter, gone to the market. Back by 8. Coffee Euros trade S on. I pour myself a mug, the warmth seeping into my shaky hands, and collapse onto the lumpy couch. The living room is a time capsule of faded floral wallpaper and family photos of a gap-toothed kid who feels like a stranger. I close my eyes, trying to block it all out, but Eater Euros trade S no use. I must have dozed off, because the next thing I know, a thunderous pounding on the front door jolts me awake, loud enough to rattle the windows. My heart lurches into my throat. Carl, open up, you little runaway. Eater Euros trade S Harolder Euros trade S voice booming through the wood. No way. They couldn't Euros trade T have found me. The door swings open. Euros my mom never locks. Eater Euros, and there they are, filling the frame like a pair of mismatched, impossibly handsome bookends. Harolder Euros trade S hair is a mess, his leather jacket dusted with the grime of the road. Beside him, Jackie stands cool and composed, his black coat somehow still pristine despite what must have been a 6-hour drive. Their eyes lock onto me, and I feel like a rabbit cornered by wolves. What the hell are you doing here? I blurt out, backing into the couch. Harold grins, a triumphant, conquering grin. You think you can just bolt after a show like that? Nar man, we Euros trade re not done with you. He kicks the door shut and drops onto the couch beside me, his thigh brushing against mine. The contact sends a jolt through me, and I scoot away, only to bump into Jackie, who has silently taken the other side, trapping me between them. We tracked your phone, Jackie says, his voice smooth and unapologetic. You turned it off, but not before it pinged the station. We took a guess you are Euros trade D head home. He leans back, crossing his arms, and I catch the faint, maddeningly expensive scent of his cologne. You drove all night. Are you insane? For you? Yeah, maybe. Harold laughs, slinging an arm across the back of the couch, his fingers grazing my shoulder. You are Euros trade V got us all twisted up, Carl. Eater Euros trade S like a bad rom-com. Eater Euros trade S not funny, I snap, shoving his arm off. I messed up, okay? Ir euros trade sorry. Just go back. Leave me alone. Jack euros trade's hand lands on my knee, firm and deliberate, silencing me. No, he says, his gray eyes piercing mine. You don't euros trade get to decide that. Not after what you pulled. Not after how we feel. My breath catches in my throat. How you feel? I echo, my voice barely a whisper. War euros trade supposed to hate me. I lied to you, stole from you. Harold snorts, leaning in so close I can feel his breath on my cheek. Yeah, and it was hot as hell. War euros trade read a little mastermind, Carl. Ir euros trade V been into you since you trashed my shoes, and this whole Ella thing just sealed the deal. I flinch, trapped between them, their heat and weight pressing in on me. This is crazy, I mutter, my hands twisting in my lap. You canna euros trade both the euros. The front door bangs open again, and my mom strides in, her arms full of grocery bags. She stops dead, blinking at the scene. Carl, who are these boys? Oh, Mom, this is Harold and Jackie, I stammer, shoving their hands off me. My roommates from school. She sets the bags down, her eyes full of suspicion and curiosity. Roommates, huh? You didn't euros trade say you were bringing friends. Her gaze lingers on Harold euros trade's expensive jacket, then Jackie euros trade's polished boots, then back to me. They staying? Harold grins, all charm. If you are euros trade ll have us, mar euros trade him. We were worried about Carl. He euros trade's important to us. My mom raises an eyebrow, then turns to me. Well, war euros trade here now. Might as well eat. Carl, help me in the kitchen. In the cramped kitchen. Her voice is low. They seem awful fond of you. What are euros trade's going on? Nothing, I lie, my hands trembling as I crack eggs into a bowl. From the living room, I can hear Harold euros trade's laughter and Jack euros trade's quiet reply. Fair euros trade here, in my world, the world ir euros trade v always been ashamed of, and they earn a euros trade judging. Breakfast is chaotic. My mom grills them, and they dodge her questions like pros. Then she drops the bomb. So, Carl, are you going to tell them about that Ella girl you were texting all summer? My fork clatters to my plate. Mom, no. Eller, Harold euros trade's grin widens, wicked and knowing. Oh, we know Eller real well. Jack euros trade's smirk is more subtle, but his foot nudges mine under the table, sending sparks up my leg. Yeah, Carl, tell us about her. Ir euros trade so screwed. I flee to the porch, my heart pounding, and they follow, cornering me against the railing. She euros trade's nobody, huh? Harold teases. Funny, because she euros trade's got us both hooked. Jackie steps closer, his voice firm. Stop running, Carl. We euros trade here. We want you, all of you. Ir euros trade shaking. Their closeness overwhelming. I canna euros trade do this, I whisper, but my resolve is crumbling. They earn a euros trade mocking me, not my house, not my lie. Fair euros trade register euros here, real and solid, and I don't euros trade know how to fight it anymore. Okay, I breathe, the word barely audible. Letter euros trade's try. Whatever this is. Harold lets out a whoop, pulling me into a crushing hug, while Jack euros trade's hand finds mine, his grip steady and sure. The chaos begins to fade, replaced by something warm, terrifying, and undeniably right. Ir euros trade not alone in this mess anymore. And maybe, just maybe, Thutter euros trade's okay. 3 weeks have passed since the showdown on my Momer Euros Trade's porch, and somehow, Euros Trade am back in the dorm. Sprawled across the couch with Harold Euros Trade's arm slung over my shoulders, and Jack Euros Trade's legs tangled with mine. A cheesy action movie is blaring from the TV, but Euros Trade am barely watching. My head is still spinning from the whiplash of it all, how we went from me scamming them as a fictional girl to this. Whatever this is. The air smells like popcorn and Harold Euros Trade's cologne, and the warmth of their bodies pressed against me feels like a fever dream I never want to wake up from. We Euros Trade V found a strange, new rhythm. The ride back from Ohio was quiet. The three of us crammed into Harold Euros Trade's Jeep, an unspoken truce hanging in the air. When we got back, they didn't Euros Trade let me retreat into my shell. Harold declared he was in charge of dinner from now on, and Jackie promised to teach me coding so I would stop being a technological Neanderthal. I laughed, shaky and uncertain, but I didn't Euros Trade pull away. I couldn't Euros Trade. Not anymore. Tonight is typical. Harold is hogging the popcorn, his loud laugh echoing in the room as he reacts to the movie Euros Trade's ridiculous stunts. Jackie is on my other side, his focus on the laptop in his lap, but his thumb is gently stroking the back of my hand. Euros Trade's a small, quiet gesture, but it speaks volumes. So there I was, the broke scholarship kid who started a scam to pay for a ruined pair of $500 sneakers. Now caught between two guys who wanted not the sweet, small-town girl I invented, but the messy, complicated boy who had lied to them from the very beginning. This new reality is fragile, confusing, and utterly terrifying. But for the first time since I set foot in this gilded cage of a university, I don't Euros Trade feel like the odd man out. I feel Euros found. What do you guys think of this chaotic beginning? Is this a recipe for disaster or the start of something amazing? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And if you are Euros Trade re-hooked on this story and want to see what happens next with Carl, Harold, and Jackie, don't Euros Trade forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more.